Hello. Strange topic. Well, it's not really a strange topic, but it's something that's relevant. I think I think a lot of people, especially when you're like 30 years old, maybe 40, and especially when you're in your 20s, like nobody thinks about retirement, do they? And what they're going to do when they retire, and what they're going to, especially how they're going to cope financially. People just that's not in their psyche. People don't think like that. I mean, I know plenty of people my age who aren't even thinking about retirement and thinking about a pension or what they're going to live on. That it's too far away to care. They're just cracking on with their life as it is. I mean, I'm for somebody who believes in the here and now. I don't think it's worth thinking too far in the future about most things. But something that's definitely worth thinking about is your pension and what you're going to live on when you retire, because otherwise you're going to be fucked. You'll get to 65, you won't be entitled. You retire from work, you won't be getting any income from work. You won't be entitled to any benefits anymore. So, some benefits, but limited benefits. You won't get UC anymore, the usual benefits. So you've got to think about what you're going to live on when you retire. And even when I was in my 20s and I was working full time for a company for 8 years, I was thinking about retirement. Because I opted, even when I was in my early 20s, I opted to go into the company's pension scheme straight away. When I was offered the option, and that's back before the rules changed in the UK, and they made it so that companies have to put everyone on a pension scheme. Back then, the rules were different. It was all optional, and all the guys I worked with, even guys that were like 45, 50, were opting out of the pension. They weren't even going for it, and I opted in, paid into this pension until I was in my early 30s, and I left that company, paid it for 8 years. And I've looked at it just this morning, and it's now worth a lot of money. 8 years of paying into it, another 10 years later, the company it's with has invested it for me, and it's made a lot of money. It's matured. It's growing rapidly, and by the time I think about retiring in another 24 years, or I can draw it out in 14 years, I'll have some money to live on. And I'll get the state pension, of course, but that's peanuts. Like, the state pension in the UK is fuck all. It's like 100 or so something quid, I think. It's not much to live on. It will feed you a little bit and maybe pay a few silly bills, but it won't. It's not something to live on. So yeah, I've got something to live on now. I'm more or less sorted for quite a while. Once I retire, which is a relief for me. It's not 24 years is still a lot of life I've got to live, and I might not even get there. I'm not guaranteed to get to 65. None of us are. But yeah, bye.